Welcome to Module 5. We're halfway through the program, and this module is all about deciding what a home is worth to you. How much do you value that home? The value to you will probably be different than the people who walked through the open home before you would value it at. So let's talk about how you come to that decision. How much is it worth? Now, Module 5 is right in the middle of the process. So you've done your research, you've found the home, you need to know how much it's worth to you before you place the offer. And the rest of this whole process helps to guide you through what happens after you've placed the offer. But right now, we're at the crunch point. How much do you think the home is worth to you? Here you can see where we are. We're going to move through to the next page of the workbook and have a look at the lessons in this workbook and in this module. It's important to recognize when you're deciding how much a home is worth to you, it's important to recognize your emotions in the process. And the reason I say that is because it's very easy and simple to make a mistake because we can get carried away by our emotions and we can try to not pay attention to our emotions. And both of those strategies are not ideal. So we will be talking about emotions and we will be talking about how to incorporate those with the comparative market analysis. So it's a lot of responsibility and it takes confidence. So what do you believe a home is worth? If you're a property investor, that question is about 10 times easier. However, if you've finally found the dream home that you've been searching for months, it's a weighty question with complex answers. Having confidence in your knowledge is the only thing that will help you here. If you're clear on your own buyer's brief and you confidently know the condition of the home, the quality of the location, and the state of the market, you're in a strong position to confidently decide the value of the home. And buying a home is a deeply personal and often emotional journey. You know, you have highs and lows. It's a very tumultuous roller coaster because you can be feeling really excited one moment and within half an hour you can be feeling the depths of despair because you were unsuccessful with the offer that you placed on a property. So emotions are key. I love this little image that I've got on the right-hand side of the page here. Yeah, you can be happy. Happy might come from the fact that your offer has been accepted and you're feeling happy before you start to feel overwhelmed because you're about to have to negotiate through the counter offer process. You could be feeling frustrated because you thought you had a strong offer. You were led to believe by the sales agent that it would be seen favorably by the seller and you're frustrated because, well, that didn't happen. You could be annoyed at the sales agent because it happened. Maybe they said one thing to you and they did the other. And, you know, this sort of thing happens as well. You could be feeling nervous because now you've placed an offer. You're waiting to hear back from the sales agent and you're nervous to see, well, did I offer enough? Should I have put some more money on there? Did I over offer? Is my offer too high and now I've just spent too much? You could be feeling nervous and obviously devastated if you don't get the home that you've fallen in love with. You could be feeling confident. And that's what I'm going for with this whole training program is to have you saying to yourself, right, I've done everything right. I've done what has been prescribed to me. So I'm feeling confident and not just confident, but also you'll have the ability to cope. Okay. So I'm confident that I've done it the right way. I've done everything I could. If it's not a successful offer, that's fine then. I'll move on. There will always be another home. So making sure that you've got that backup plan in the back of your mind, there will always be another home. It's so very true. Confused. You can be confused because honestly, every sales agent has their own process and having to understand the differences between the different processes can be confusing and quite quite confusing. And then you can be feeling proud because you followed everything through and it worked. So I want you to recognize your emotions, include them in your decision making. Do not deny the fact that they exist. Don't be overwhelmed by your emotions. It's a balance. You need to balance your emotions with the logical assessment of the value of the home. And you can do this confidently by making sure that you have followed the process to this point. And keep in the back of your mind the knowledge that should this not work out, there will always be another home. Start with that from the beginning. There will always be another home. This emotional roller coaster is part of the process. After all, a home isn't just a building, it's a place where you envisage your future, your family, and your memories being made. It's important to acknowledge and accept these feelings. Don't be surprised if you feel anxious, frustrated, or even a little heartbroken at times. These emotions are a natural response to such a significant life event. Understanding that these feelings are valid and shared by many home buyers can help you navigate the process with greater self-awareness and make decisions that are both practical and aligned with your emotional needs. Recognizing emotions. Emotions play a significant role in the purchase of a home. Hello, it's a lot of money. And there's a lot wound up in this purchase. We're not talking about investment properties in this course. We're talking about homes. And I've deliberately labeled everything as a home as opposed to a property in my business because I'm dealing with home buyers, not investors. And you are a home buyer. Consequently, emotions play a significant role in the purchase of a home. Feeling anxious and overwhelmed. Buying a home is a huge financial commitment, and buyers often experience significant anxiety. They might worry about taking on a mortgage, the complexities of the legal process, and the uncertainty of the market. This stress can make it difficult to think clearly and make rational decisions. First-time buyers can easily feel overwhelmed by the whole process, leading them to consider settling for a less desirable property just to reduce the stress and get the process over and done with. Another common situation is the fear of missing out. You often hear people talking about FOMO. In a seller's market, buyers often face competition from other interested parties. Having offers rejected can be emotionally bruising. Oh, that's a great way to describe it. Emotionally bruising. And I don't know how long it takes you to get over bruises, but I'm a bruiser. So, some people will have a thicker skin. And if you're feeling this, it can lead you to feelings of frustration, disappointment, and even inadequacy. And that's irrational, but we're talking about emotions here. Rose-colored glasses. So you might be enamored by the fact that finally you found a home that more than ticks all the boxes so that you'll actually overlook other flaws that the property has. For example, the home is on that tightly held street that you've loved forever. And so you want to buy it. But it's actually smaller than you really need it to be. So be careful not to be led by your heart. And then another common one is being attached to a home that you've just seen because it reminds you of a home you used to live in, or you've got strong memories from the past. And what I mean by that is, for example, buyers might be attracted to a property that represents a certain lifestyle they desire. They might envision themselves entertaining guests in the spacious backyard or enjoying views from the balcony. That this can lead them to overestimate the benefits of the property and overlook potential drawbacks. If this is out of kilter, if you're looking at a property and you're seeing things that are a bit out of kilter, because let me explain. For example, a buyer might be drawn to a property with a large garden, imagining themselves spending weekends gardening and relaxing outdoors. When in reality now, they've got children, they've got things to do on the weekends, and they ignore the fact that the garden requires a lot of maintenance, which they may not have time for. Another example is you may be remembering holding parties or doing a lot of entertaining at a home that you used to own. However, or you used to live in. However, it might well be that you are now moving to a different phase of your life and you won't be holding those parties or inviting that many people over for barbecues in the future. So keeping that in balance. A final example that I have is that you might be drawn to a property because it reminds you of your childhood home, even though it might not be the best fit for your current needs. So those are the emotions that can influence you making a quality decision about the value of a home. So finally, in this section, I'd like to talk about stress. And I know we've just spoken about emotions, and stress is obviously culminates from emotions. Yeah. Two main things I've noticed that people will become stressed about, in addition to feeling emotional about, is financial pressures. And people get stressed by negotiations. So let's talk about financial pressures. It's important to stay connected to your budget limitations. You'll likely have a budget that you'll need to stick to, but the desire for a particular home could tempt you to overspend. Be careful that you don't rationalize increasing your budget by believing you can make it work later. You might not be able to. So, not just that, but you might put tight financial pressures on yourself after you've purchased the home. But then there's also the problem with if you've purchased the home with partner, other people in your household may become influenced by the stress that is created because you've paid too much for the property. And there could be arguments, and it could, by overpaying now, it could create years of tension and stress. And we don't want to see that happen. Secondly, avoiding negotiations. So don't agree to terms that make you feel uncomfortable or a price that is over your budget just because you don't want to negotiate with the real estate agent, or you just want to give in quickly and do whatever it is that they suggest. So my firm advice to you is to set the parameters, the price, the terms that are what suit you, and ask someone else to negotiate those for you. If you can explain what the terms and the price are that you are wanting to have for the purchase of this home, and give that pressure to someone else who doesn't mind it, that's a great solution. So negotiating prices and contract terms can be stressful, especially for those who aren't comfortable with negotiation. You might feel intimidated, which can result in you accepting unfavorable terms or paying more than you intended. If you find yourself in this situation, it's essential to stay aware of your position. It's common for buyers to feel pressured by sales agents. That's them doing their job. Their job is to get as much as possible for their client. And by applying pressure to you and getting you to increase your price, that's their job. So maybe look at it from that point of view. Remember, you should only agree to a higher price if you feel confident and comfortable doing so.